Aesop Rock has always been in his own galaxy, but on this joint, on Black Hole Superette, this is deep space grocery shopping in a wormhole convenience store where every aisle is stocked with like cryptic metaphors and Martian breakers. Like you pick up a bag of chip, and like it sings to you. Um, what grabbed me most about it is how the whole thing was um it was immersive, right? But wait, there's more. I'm get to that. The other I'm get to put a pin in that, right? The record is dense, but it's not inaccessible. It's a psychedelic ride. This is paranoia, but it's playful and it's ridiculous, but like in the like the best kind of way. He takes like the most mundane things, the most like menial events or whatever, and it's like he blows it up and he just like paints the picture for you, and he creates a scene and like it. Part of you is like, is he talking about something real or is this like something like fictional? Like what is happening? Like this did this actually happen to him? Right? And it just sounds so clever. Right? This dude's freaking clever as hell, right? When you put these stories together. Amazing storyteller. Um, and then like you're left like just thinking like what in the hell is this random ass picture that this dude is painting? Um, Ace is continuing his artistic evolution on this joint. He's already known for his lyricism, right? And uh he has been self-producing for a while, and so and his stuff has always already been good, and but it's just been like getting better and better. And like he dropped ITS, I think in 2023. I reviewed it in 2023, and and that was for the production was really good on that one too. But like this one, like I feel like he stepped up here. Every time I talk about ASAP, I have to bring this thing up. This the largest vocabulary in hip hop, and again I'll pin it at the bottom. It was this like a meta study, I guess you would call it. This was that was done, and they updated it back in 2019. Um, I'll link it here and then like maybe put a picture up real quick. But like he constantly rates. He's the so this thing is like percentage or like a number of unique words used within artist's first 35,000 lyrics, right? And granted, this is a new project, so it's not counted in here, but like he's at the top of this thing. He's the pinnacle of like creativity when it comes to how like you put these words together. You just string them together and make it make sense and make it rhyme and make it flow and paint me a picture and tell me a story. Um, and and don't your cadence can't be whack. You know what I'm saying? Make and draw me and make it palatable because they got this dude bus driver on here and like I know he's got his niche audience and I know it's not for me, but like that dude's just like reading out of the dictionary and it's like he's just that's just way too obscure to make any kind of sense to me. What are you talking about? But like Aesop is actually saying stuff that is like coherent, it's not abstract art. Feel me? Um, and he's the pinnacle of this joint. And like in terms of just like the skill, this is like he's like what they call it, what's his name? The professor in for basketball players, right? Where he's he can't quite be, what I mean, top tier NBA jersey wearing on the roster or anything like that, but like if you like whittle down what you need to work on down to dribbling, right? Mr. Professor he is eating comfortable. He is living comfortable. He's good. He's eating, you know what I mean?
I've caught the attention of some of the best to ever do it.
Did you have favorite moves, favorite players to emulate?
Professor, like low key, I feel like he might be like one of the best ball handlers of all time. Like in terms of the quickest hands, like the ball was never out of control or out of his control, and that part is just amazing. He's still doing it. Like you see him pop up any and everywhere to this day. He just had the ball on a string to a level that I don't think anybody thought was possible.
You know, I'm sure Aesop is doing good for himself, but like he could be like, big league if he like I don't know if that would take away from well, it would totally because he just talks about the mundane. You know what I mean? He's a white boy. You know what I mean? He's not like street, but he's street level. Feel me? Um, so for him to like put out that kind of quality of music, and be that smart, you know what I mean? And it still be hip hop. It's still hip hop. Ain't nobody gonna listen to Aesop and say that's not hip hop. Feel me? And so like he kept the hip hop. He kept the G. Um, you know, Kendrick, this is all Kendrick was saying. We just like respect hip hop. That's it. Whoever you are, you come in this thing and like, you want to play along, you know what I mean? Don't nobody got nothing to say about Eminem. Respect hip hop. You know what I mean? Even really, we gotta really respect Vanilla Ice because like he being a pioneer is gonna look messy, right? Looking back at it, right? It's gonna look messy, but like um for the times of what hip hop was like sounding like in the times, there was a version that like that like that was like right there. I mean, MC Hammer, right? I mean, come on, it's right there. And like nobody gonna tell me MC Hammer not hip hop. So he kept the hip hop, and he got a new project. This new project here, the Superette is like it's still on that, and his production is tight. Is even better now. And so shout out to him for getting the bag both ways coming and going. But he does some weird stuff on here, of course, because that's just his personality. Um, but it's very technical, so you may not even realize some of the nuances that he might be throwing in there. But some of them you may not like. It might not sit well with you, just the direction that he goes in. But it's art, and it's intricate. The percussions avoid being distracting while at the same time they're still boom bap, right? But he could be a little creative. He stretches like the boundaries of that stuff, and it may be a little jittery, maybe a little awkward, but um it's still the tether um of the boom bap is never too far away. So you like you it's it keeps it grounded. Again, street level. Not street, but street level. The sound is especially for it being like the shop right. So I'm thinking like a bodega kind of setup. I mean, it's open like 24 hours. Um, it's the sort of like, there might be like a gaming machine in the back. I feel like I hear some sounds in there that like walking through like a Japanese arcade. When I was in Japan, that's like a big thing over there. They have these huge arcades just like sprinkled throughout, right? Um and it's just a bunch of vending machine joints, just like like thousands as far as the eye can see. And it's like, there's some like sounds that like make it feel like that kind of like retro, get that little spacey vibe, like you're like everything is by vending machine. You know what I mean? If you order your car by vending machine, you like, you pour a glass. I know we got like coffee machines now that like it's a vending machine, you know what I mean? It gets a cup and then like you pick your barista and all that kind of stuff and it gives you the thing. So it's kind of like embracing all of that universe. This is a dude that can rap about anything. He has this one track. He's got the one track about it's called The One. Is it called The One? Am I listening to? It's called Snail Zero. Snail Zero, right? He's got this track, Snail Zero, where like he buys his girlfriend's moving in. He's saying this, my girlfriend's moving in. So I bought her a gift. I figured, I mean, I got her like this little fish tank aquarium kind of situation. And she moves in and then like a couple days later, so like that, she's like she screams, it's like there's a snail, and then he's like, and it's all rhyming, right? It's all rhyming. He's like, so he's trying to figure out what the fuck, where the snail come from, right? Like, and then so they're doing research on their phones, and they find out what kind of snail it is, right? And they're like, oh, that's wild, you know what I mean? But he ain't bothering nobody, so let's leave him alone, right? Fast forward in the story, and he's telling this all in rhyme, all in cadence, all with the beat, right? That like like he comes back and they're like, "Yo, there's like 12 snails here now." What the fuck? There was one snail. Now there's 12 snails, and like the fish are looking crazy. The fish are like, "Yo, this motherfucker," right? And so, um, these things are invasive. So then like the third act, he's got to try to figure out like what am I gonna do about all these snails, right? Um, he's like, I could he's like, I'm not gonna kill them. It's not gonna be a massacre. I think he uses the word like massacre, right? He's like, I'm not gonna massacre them, right? The snails are chilling, you know what I mean? But like we didn't go to purchase snails, we purchased fish, and like these snails, who knows what's gonna do to the ecosystem that we built, right? They have some plants are fake, some plants are real. And so, but like also like I can't just like be walking around with a bag of snails. He's like, oh, there goes this crazy man walking around with a bag of snails, right? And so he's like at an impasse at that point. And so what he decides is that at the end of it, he's like, we should all just coexist. That was funny. That he just walks you through the whole thing. Another dope track on here that I want to shout out is what this joint. He got this track with Open Mike Eagle, yo. Um, yeah, I think it's the it's got a song Open My Ego. But oh, this one track though with Lupe's on here. So Lupe's on this project. And for Aesop to still be such like an underground rapper, right? That's like a cosign. That's a cosign. That's definitely a cosign. Lupe's on here. Lupe's Lupe's one of my favorites. And to get a feature, dog, like Lupe is top. So there's two lists, right? I have two lists. There's one. It was like, okay, what is who I think is the greatest rappers of all time, right? And when I say that, I am incorporating in just some of the stuff that Jim Jones was talking about. There's the influence, you know what I mean? There's like your impact on culture, stage presence, of course, and of course all the obvious stuff like what your rhymes is like, right? You know what I mean? What your beat selections like, right? Do you have any classics? And taking all things into consideration, and also what freaking Memphis Bleak and Lloyd Banks is talking about, and Jay-Z is talking about in 444. It's like also like what's your trajectory after that? What Nas is talking about, right? With all the king's diseases, right? You a king now, right? Like you gotta grow. Like, you like grow your empire. Really what you gotta do. Um, that matters too. So my what I think the greatest rappers of all time is Jay-Z, in this order. Jay-Z, greatest rapper of all time. Tupac, Nas, K Dot, and Lil Wayne. For each of them, there's different balances and reasons. One of them because the lyricism carried the catalog, or the fact that the catalogs were classic, but the lyricism was like okay, or what is the height and the longevity of a thing, and also like how far did you take it? I mean, did you build it, you building empires from that thing? That's part of hip hop. How competitive were you while you were in? And so I think like just like I mean, it would take I would have to record for a while to explain all the reasons why, I think this order is legit. Like Jay-Z, Tupac, Nas, K Dot, and Lil Wayne. You could say K Dot from now. And again, I'm talking about hip hop. I'm not talking about that alternative stuff. I'm talking about hip hop, right? Um, some people might take offense to this list, right? And it's like, yo, where's Three Stacks? Where's Biggie? Right? And And if we're gonna be weighing the scales on the different levels of, okay, you can measure this for this one, and you can like give it, you lay it out to weigh the scales for all the different categories. I mean, Biggie don't have enough his body of work. He just ain't there. Same thing with Andre. The body of work just isn't there. It's just not for you to like for you. How do you who do you replace when it comes to the body of work for that, right? Your lyricism is amazing. It's great. What you contributed when you the bit that you did is amazing stuff. It's what endeared you to us. But like you need more body of work to like catch up to the influence, to catch up to their body of work, to catch up to the accolades, to catch up to the Grammys, the awards, to catch up to the sales, to catch up to the empire that was built after that, to the people that you put on, right? But Biggie, like, yeah, I'm sorry, rest in peace and everything, but you weren't around long enough to put people on like that. So that counts. It's about the entire game of hip hop. So Jay-Z, Tupac, Nas, K Dot, and Lil Wayne. Now, who do I think are the greatest rappers? The greatest rappers of all time? Like at the skill and art of rapping as a talent, Black Thought number one, Eminem, Lupe, Biggie, and then Three Stacks. He makes top 10 of like this whole thing, right? He makes top 10 of this whole thing. But like Three Stacks is 10 on this thing. Like at rapping, but mind you, top 10 is amazing, right? There's like a billion rappers. Top 10 is amazing, but at rapping, bro, like Thought is like he was born to rap. This is one of these people that just like he he probably like emits a different aura just than the rest of us. Like he's just like for this thing to come into existence, this thing of ours to come into existence, like for Thought to be at the age where like he could like wait a minute, this is like it's almost like his first language is probably rap. That's Thought. And then Eminem, you know, adding the lyrical miracle stuff that he does and which I even of itself is a skill, and his storytelling and finding random ways to make stuff rhyme that we wasn't even expecting. And and to be white, and come through like a place like Detroit and come through the mud of hip hop. Um, like he earned that spot. Like the art and skill of rapping, like infused in a thing. Like that's Eminem. Then there's Lupe. Probably the most underrated, like never gets freaking named, like goat, almost goat level for general consensus. The dude is a freaking professor in everything, like teaching rap. He recently put out another album a year or so ago, and I reviewed that one. That was dope. Lupe is chronically underrated, so he's up there. He is talking about stuff that's just like history and aspirations and just like all kinds of like off kilter stuff that like it's everyday stuff, but we just don't even talk about because it's like the struggle is not the typical struggle that we're so used to be getting spoon fed, like the low hanging fruit stuff. That's Lupe. Of course, Biggie is like Steph Curry with words. So like yeah, Biggie's gonna make that in terms of rapping. Yeah, Biggie is that nice with it. Again, career very short lived, but from what I heard, you know what I mean, and even the posthumous, Ready to Die, and then even the posthumous stuff, like whatever recordings they had of, and then all the features, you know what I mean, with Junior Mafia or whatnot, or whoever else he's featured on. Um, like that dude is nice with the words. That dude is nice with butter. That boy is butter with the words for what he did. Just like can't be greatest of all time. You know what I mean? Can't make it that top five on that. And then there's Three Stacks. And and Three Stacks had us thinking in a different way. He had his own like a branch of artists that come under his lineage. You know, and you know, and he himself would credit Sly for Sly Stone for even the energy and the freedom to he's standing on that shoulder. That's a giant that he's standing on the shoulder of, right? Um, so he makes the list, and his lyrics, his bars are just there. They're dope. They're amazing. Plenty of classics, verses that we first Three Stacks verse of the year on many a years, right? So he does make the list. Um, but the one song that I think is the best song, like I said, from this project that I haven't even talked about is okay. So we know we have the Clips is rolling out, right? The Clips is rolling out. They have a shout out to the Clips. They got this thing, this rollout. I think the album drops out July 11th. It's probably shooting my door right now.
Shoot 'em
July
all,
11th,
let
this album
God
drops.
sort 'em out.
And they've been doing a dope rollout. For a duo that's been away for a while. Um, they really need to get people acclimated to their story, to get acclimated to like, yo, what happened? Why did y'all go away and all that stuff? And like we kind of knew, but um, like what have y'all been through that whole time, um and they're building anticipation for this project. They're dropping articles and stuff. They're posting on social media. They're doing podcast interviews. So they're really doing themselves a favor and doing it the right way by having an actual thought out rollout and not just dropping on folks. There's a couple albums that kind of just dropped. I don't think Common had a pretty he had a like a new album that came out a couple years ago that didn't really have a rollout. The album was dope, it just didn't have a rollout, so it probably didn't um land as strong as it possibly could. But on this rollout, so the Clips put out a track called "So Be It" also, but on this project of Aesop, he also has a track called "So Be It." Who put it out first? Well, I mean, I don't know where the single was out for the Clips. So there's two "So Be It's" out in the zeitgeist right now, right? And that Clips joint is hard. That Clips joint is hard. Malice is sounding amazing. He's sounding ready. You know what I mean? And but they both sound great on there, and it's a dope track. This one here, this one's better.
Plate spinner off a late dinner, one falling plate away from a date with the plague bringer. One away from drugged up in a cage, or all the fun in the world succumb to sudden malaise when a ship coming with a running. Rudder bug and sail sliced up. Somebody, would you mind if I cut in? I would have been the young, wild, and stubborn, but honestly, the current version.
The Aesop Rock version of "So Be It" is better. It's got Open Mike Ego on that joint. He just does like a little bit of the vocals on the chorus, and it's not even like a long chorus. But I wish he would have probably spit something, but he didn't give a verse or nothing like that. But he did the chorus on there. But dog, the production mixed with the vocals and the cadence and the storytelling on that thing, it's a solid piece, man. It's better than the Clips joint. And the Clips joint is hard. The Clips joint is hard. Like it's the fact. So you thought that one was hard. Go listen to this. The black hole super. You get drawn into this black hole. Um, gaming would be like a dope. I can see that. I can see that. Like playing one of these games. Like I was playing. What was I playing? Grounded. I'm playing Grounded, and I will listen to this joint playing Grounded, and like, this all forest. It's all forest and grounded. So I'm like, dog, that tree look like that tree. Or not even trees, blade of grass. Because you're like miniature, so like a blade of grass. It's like I forget where I'm at. I'm just like circling around, and I'm dying because I'm distracted because it's like it brings in this uniform, but like grounded unit could just keep dying or whatever. You know, what I mean, it's just like it's fine. It's not like I'm playing live Call of Duty or something like that, you know, with anybody. I could just like go into this world, and next thing I'm exploring like a spider's nest kind of thing, right? And I'm in there, and I'm like listening to this during the same time. It's freaking trippy, freaking freaking mad trippy. Um, there's this he actually put out speaking of games, literally put out a game. It's on stream. It's on stream, and in this one, it's a fictional convenience store. I just put it right here, and you walk through, and there's different stuff that you could. There's the different aisles, and the different aisles got different things you can interact with. Like you like you can just like pick up a box and like read the details. So this kind of like had me like just trippy for a while, just like figuring out what some hidden some has some quirky messages and stuff like that in them. The headlines. This is actually Send Help is one of the joints, and that's an actual track called Send Help. I think he might have a Jordan featured on there. Is that who Send Help? Like when you're in trouble, saying was that the Jordan commercial? Like you need help or something like that, right? Get help. Um, so that's dope that you could have this interactive kind of thing. And so there's some snippets of the of some of the tracks, like the different items that you pick up. It plays while so it's like a little window into the actual. Hey, let me go check out the album. See what the whole album sounds like. Let's see what this whole track sounds like. So that's a dope little like unique thing for him to have done. Him and his team putting it together, right? I had this on the first time I was at the grocery store. I was actually at the grocery store, right? And like I clicked on it and I was like, oh snap, ASAP dropped something, right? So let me download it and listen to it. And so I really didn't remember the title was Black Hole Superette, right? And so I'm listening to it. I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, yo, some of this stuff is like, is this dude just like exploring? Just like exploring like different. This is like I feel like this is bodega. This is meant for the bodega. Like somebody that's like needs like a roadmap through a bodega, right? And it's not like it's like I'm in a super like I'm shopping, and I'm actually experiencing that in real time. And they come to find out that he's got like a freaking video game that he created with the immersive experience on that. It was dope. It had me, and I had to like go back and listen again because like I was like, oh, I wasn't paying attention the right way, right? And he tells like these stories, and it you you want to repeat it because you want to what did I miss? Right? What did I miss? And I catch something new every time. I was listening to this one. He's got this track. This is the most obscure freaking track. Okay, so we talked about Snail Zero, right? He's got this joint called John something. He's got this joint called John something, right? And the reason he calls it John something is like it's almost like an homage to Tenacious D has a track called This Is Not the Greatest Song in the World. This is just a tribute to the greatest song in the world. So the song that you're listening to that we're actually playing is actually not this song. They're telling you it's not that song. This is a tribute to that song, right? I don't know, maybe they forgot the song or they heard about the song, whatever. So it's funny. It's kind of like it's freaking meta like that, right? And it's an amazing song, right? Vocals on there, harmony and all that stuff. Okay, so that's the Tenacious D song. He's got a song on here called John Something. And in this song called John Something, he's recalling a time when he was back in like I don't know, like maybe like undergrad or maybe like high school. It might have been undergrad, right? And like they had a speaker for the day that came in to the school and uh and he's like, oh, it's for artsy kids or whatever, like artsy, whatever kind of speaker. It's like, hey, I'm artsy. You know what I mean? I'll go check out this thing, this lecture. And okay, let me just read this joint. Like, we had a visiting artist in the winter of '96 who came to talk about his paintings and the shit that made him tick. I think his name was John something, right? If at the assembly you're allowed to cut the class, I was sunk into the bucket, yellow puffy on my lap. Uh, bring on John something. Hot-blooded art freaks take to the auditorium. Three quarters boorish, one quarter primordial. Keen to absorb the stories of veteran picture paint of veteran picture makers, even if an unfamiliar name and face or mystery flavor. Say John something who was punctual to the podium, visibly uncomfortable, having trouble focusing, noticing we're nothing. Notice, hold up. Noticing we're noticing, he pardons the glitch. Says, "I'm sorry, but it's vital. I depart from the script to where you had one job, John something." He goes to do. He's like going back and forth, right? So he's like, so John is like, "I'm sorry, but it's vital. I depart from the script." And he goes, his voice comes, it's like, "To where? You had one job," right? And he kind of like panics. He goes, "John something. Something's wrong with John something." I just find that so funny, right? Like something it's like John something. Something's wrong with John something. Something on his mind. He been searching for the words, even standing at the plate. I ain't anticipate the curve. He goes, "Last night I saw this documentary," right? So this is John something, right? And he doesn't remember his last name, so he named him something John something, right? He like last night I saw this doc. I saw this new documentary, and I cannot under. He's like last night I saw this documentary, and I cannot understate the extent to which it's affected me. He's like I'm on the edge of my seat, right? He said it's called When We Were Kings. This was 1996. He was there to show some photos that would demonstrate his gift. I think his name was John something. If at the assembly you were seeing something new, I'm a new fan before even seeing what he do. Bring on John something. When We Were Kings is actually I added that. When We Were Kings is a documentary feature on the 74 U.S. Heavyweight Boxing Championship that's commonly referred to as the Rumble in the Jungle. So like right now we're into the John something story. Like we started off him going back to 96, like trying to get, just skipping class and to see an artist like a painter, and the painter is like, "Yo, I'm distracted." And like, why, what are you distracted by? Like this is, and like John something goes on to tell this story, and he goes into the rumble of the jungle, right? And so we're like within the story. And so he watches this documentary, and so he's like, "So Mr. Something up there, present as it gets, talking Ali and his confidence, begetting his success, but almost referenced as a magic of some extrasensory X that he had witnessed and was duty bound to tell to someone else, us. And truly, I was hung on every sentence. Though it probably lasted longer than intended, it felt genuine, if a little strange." And then he goes on to talk about how like John something is like, yo, he's so lost in the story, he's running out of time. Yeah, so like he's just like flies through his slides. And so he's like 20 years of age. I'm in the 80s Mike Tyson kid. I'm an 80s Mike Tyson kid. We heard about that legendary clashing of the Titans, but could never have contextualized the metrics or the environment until 90 minutes of history. So he goes and watches this documentary and images and music. I was riveted infinitely. That walk out different than you slithered that walk out the movie than you different than you slithered in. Every atom in you shifting, christened in the river in the river shit, and I still revisit it. This week winter came, queued it up, hit play. It felt like someone visited, right? That story from John something, like, landed with somebody, and he just wrote bars off that. This was recommended by one of my favorite artists. Um, and the background vocal goes, "John something." He doesn't even remember his name, but it made an impact on him, and he was able to put that in writing and made it slap. and barred it up, barred it up. And this dude could just rap about anything. He can rap about anything. This is the type of album that you go to when you like you need a palate cleanser off of just like some of this dumb shit. Some of this like if you're just like looking for art, if you looking just for like the skill of dribbling, of stringing words together, I'm gonna warn you though, like you're gonna have to listen multiple times because you're gonna miss something. If you're looking for hip hop at its and rap as it's intended to be, like forget all the fluff, forget all the shine, forget all the bling and all the money talk and all. Just like that has its place too, but like if you're looking for how to string words together, how to paint pictures with words, yo, give this a spin. Give Aesop Rock, Black Hole Superette a spin. You deserve that. You're welcome. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm gonna need both of them, my like and my subscribe.